We're back.
We're back.
How are
I
you,
didn't know.
Devin?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Fine. That's a good word.
Yeah.
I am having a fine morning. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah.
I am very grateful for this morning.
You're grateful for this morning. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay. I love that. Yes, because on the docket, we're going to talk a
Yes.
little bit about gratitude.
Gratitude. So what comes to mind, the first thing that pops in your head when you hear the word gratitude?
Honestly, the thing that pops in my mind is everyone always says to practice gratitude. And so I have always, in the last 5 or so years, maybe a little bit before that, gratitude has been a practice of mine where specifically like journaling or in my planner, because I have the Flourish planner,
Okay.
and gratitude is one of the things that daily, what are you grateful for? And so
I love that.
I've had different times in life where a different planner was like, give me 5 things you're grateful for. So I'd be thinking about 5 things or 3 things. And now I just kind of have made it more of how I go about my life, not necessarily about, okay, let's go to the drawing board. What am I grateful for? I really do have kind of like a flexible, flowing kind of gratitude practice.
Okay.
What about for you?
The first thing that comes to mind when I
Yeah.
hear is the song Gratitude by Danny Elfman. Do you know Danny Elfman?
No.
Many people think of this is total side subject now. People think of Danny Elfman as he's a composer. He's
Okay.
composed a lot of different soundtracks, but I know him as the frontman for the epic band Oingo Boingo, which if you don't know, you should, and you're welcome. That's something you can add to your list of things to be grateful of, is your introduction to Oingo Boingo. But he has a song called Gratitude. So that's
Is the song about gratitude? Like,
roughly, yeah. I mean, it's called Gratitude. I'm not going to sing it. You won't want me to do that, but you can look it up.
Play it,
so no,
while you're
I think I could know that there may be copyright issues involved. It could jeopardize our podcast.
You know, though, this is off the subject, but I have always wondered about all of the like the up and coming musicians who cover all the other like really famous songs. Is there not copyright issues with that?
I think there are, but there's some flexibility that the different platforms allow, and certainly the main artists allow. But again, that could be a different topic for a different day. So the other thing I think of with gratitude, and I love what you said about, the Flourish, the planner, where you have this very mindful, you go through this process of identifying, something that you're grateful for. And I think back, I've talked about him before, but Neil Pasricha.
Yes, yeah.
Remember we talked about, so we talked, he's the author, fantastic author, and great story. I had an opportunity to see him at a conference, and he's the author of The Happiness Equation. But then he's got kind of these series of books that came from his website, and it's called The Book of Awesome. And it's just like 1,000 just random things that are just awesome about life, about the world we live in, and things that we can be grateful for. And we think a lot of times when someone says, what are you grateful for? We think of kind of the big things. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for, the job I have. But there's so many little things every day that we can be grateful for. I'm grateful for cheddar cheese.
Yeah,
that's one thing. So there are so many little things that bring joy to our lives on a daily basis that we should be mindful of and celebrate. How those little things in life bring us that joy. It could be I would say sunshine. Their sun's not out right now, but something as simple as the sun is shining. You see a dog on a sidewalk. Things like that 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 bring us joy, that enhance our lives, and we should be grateful for things like that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And even the little things, training our mind to see the little things,
Yes.
because I like what you said. A lot of people who probably don't have a regular gratitude practice, they do, when they think of gratitude, they think of the big things. They think about, oh, my family, my health, my friends, all of that. We absolutely can be really grateful for that. But take it down several levels, hone in more, and it's like, okay, we're really grateful for this glorious warm latte. I'm really grateful for that. And we
Yes.
can take a moment and feel that, feel the feeling of what it's like to be so grateful for something, and cultivate more of that feeling. Because there's a quote that I live by, basically. This is a quote I found years ago and have loved it since I saw it, which is, what you seek, you will find. And so what
Okay.
you're looking for, you will find. And I feel like this applies to so much in life, because I have so many examples of how that has been so true.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for the good, you will find more of the good. You'll put your focus and your attention towards the good. So your brain is going to be looking for that. And if you're not focused on the good, if you're looking for, okay, when's the next shoe gonna drop, or what's gonna go wrong this time, it's always something, then we start to see these opportunities that maybe before wouldn't affect us so much, but since we know it's always something, that's how we're living our life, then we're getting more, it's like the confirmation bias. We're realizing that, yes, in fact, there is always something. There is always
Yeah.
this bad thing that's looming overhead, and here's the proof that I have of it. So to be able to kind of flip the script on that and say, I'm grateful for these things that are small, these things that are meaningful to me. They don't have to be huge and gigantic. I think that's a really important practice for a lot of people to have. And it's making me think of when people don't have that family unit that they're hoping for, or maybe they don't have that really good health. Then they still have things to be grateful for, and it might take a little work to find them, but it's important that they find them.
Yeah. And I think, you mentioned before, it really resonated, the fact that we have to be mindful in looking for the good, because I think we're almost trained to look for the bad, or to look at, we've got this, we live in this society, we're bombarded by these ideas, through the media, through social media, that the life that we have now, the life we're living now is not good enough, right? And for many of us, as high performers, we strive. It can motivate us, to work harder, to be more focused and do things. And there are a lot of, obviously great aspects to that, to being focused and being very intentional. But at the same time, when we're constantly being told that you're not good enough, you need a better car, you need to have a better house or a better job, or you need that new guitar, then you kind of think, it really, it kind of wreaks havoc with our own mental health. Kind of the mindset that we have is that we're never, we're always looking for more. And if we have that mindset that what we have now is not good enough, it's hard for us to be grateful. We start, it just popped in my head. So I was thinking about, the song Gratitude by Danny Elfman, frontman of the band Oingo Boingo. But the other song that popped in my head just now was, have you seen Hamilton?
No,
Are you a musical fan or not?
I hate musicals. Hate them.
We
I
are
will
like
see
so diametrically opposed on this topic.
I will see musicals like live in person, like in New York or whatever, but no, outside of that, absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't even like the musical, like Disney movies where it's like a bunch of singing. It's not for me.
Okay. So yeah. All right. And we're still friends. So anyway, Hamilton is fantastic. But there's a song where kind of the fictionalized, I don't know if this is how they actually were, but anyway, Alexander Hamilton and I believe Angelica Schuyler, they have this song, this number, and it's this around this idea that they're never satisfied. I can never be satisfied, and it's what drives them. It's what drives Alexander Hamilton to do the things that he does, and so this whole idea that we're never satisfied. That's a poem that popped in my head.
Ooh.
I just popped it. Anyway, so if we're not satisfied, then it's hard for us to identify those things that we are grateful for. So it does take intention. But if we do stop, there's so many things. It's actually, I said a minute ago that it's hard to find. It can be hard to find things to be grateful for. But it's actually, if you stop for a minute, it's actually pretty easy to realize that this cup of coffee that I have is really good. And I'm so grateful for it. And when you focus on things that are good and you realize, hey, it really helps, I think, build back on that, the book, that happiness equation on having that fulfillment, having that happiness, that satisfaction in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like now with social media and how much comparison there can be out there,
Yeah.
I make a conscious effort not to compare myself to what I see on social media, just because it's like I've seen the other side of it where so many people have, they're, for example, actually this is a bit of a funny ironic situation right now, because Rachel Hollis had the Start Today journal, which she's now discontinued. But a lot of people know Rachel Hollis.
Sure.
She has pros and cons about her and her brand. But so the gratitude was a really big part of her Start Today journal. But when I say I've seen the other side of social media, she had marriage conferences with her husband, was actively showing people how to improve their relationship. And then she got a lot of heat because they publicly divorced. They had a divorce. They had to address the public on this. And she lost a ton of followers. A lot of people are really not in support of what she does now, what she did before, because they said, you were promoting that you had this really great relationship, and then you've come out and you've said that you've struggled for 5 years or more with your husband. So anyway, she's been through it, but that's an example of what we see online is not always the reality, because she had many posts even towards the very end of her relationship where she was just gushing about how great her husband is. And of course, like, nothing is black and white. So I don't even really judge her for sharing goodness that she had in her marriage. I think that it wasn't all a facade, but people were, and still to this day, because I've seen forums on this still, and also her ex-husband, they got divorced in 2020. Her ex-husband just recently actually passed away. So it came into the news. So a lot of people are really in their feels about that. But people still to this day are they feel like the wool was like pulled over their eyes, and they feel like they missed all the signs, and it just was unbelievable to them to have that experience. And so I think that now, in the day and age that we live, with social media and influencers, which honestly might be going away a little bit because people are having all of these experiences, but the gratitude is in my mind, a way that people can actually combat some of the like comparison games.
Yeah.
And I know that you scroll on social media and pretty soon you're going to see really great videos about a couple that's so in love and look what my husband did for me. And I've walked away from some of those after seeing those videos and I was like, well, my husband's never done that, you know? And then what does that say about our relationship? And then I just like I take a step back and there's so much to be grateful for that
Yeah.
it's not like we have to make the conscious effort because then if we don't, we miss the goodness that we actually have. We miss where we're at because we are just kind of a victim of the social media craze.
Yeah. And we've talked about social media before and how people always are just presenting their very best life. And it does it, you know, and there have been a lot of studies, and we have covered this where it's shown just the fact that, you know, when people are addicted to social media and they use that as sort of the benchmark for what life should be or what their life should be and likely isn't at the time, then they that can just really, you know, be a challenge to their mental health. And so, you know, that's kind of another takeaway is let's kind of look at the reality of the situation, acknowledge that. But I love what you said, and the fact that when you get so caught up in what other people, you know, the success of other people, or at least the you know, the purported success that they're presenting, it doesn't allow you to focus on the successes that you have, to enjoy the life that you have. And so I think, you know, different people are in different stages of their life where they're always kind of comparing themselves. But I think I'm, you know, kind of at that age now where, you know, people, you know, there are people in my life, you know, who are much more successful. There are people in life who are struggling. And it, I don't look at it that way. I don't look in terms of, you know, where do I rank, you know, in there.
Yeah.
I actually actively try not to do that. To basically say you know, I am where I am,
Right.
and I'm grateful for the family I have, and for the job I have, the life that I've been able to put together. And so it's about not always, you know, not, you know, being dissatisfied and always striving to do more, but taking a pause and acknowledging that, yeah, you know, there are things that are good. This cup of coffee, it's really good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take a sip right now.
Right. I think other people's gratitude is not your gratitude. So like when people are promoting, "Oh, this wonderful thing is happening for me." Like that's not us. That's not what's happening for us necessarily. So don't confuse what you have to be grateful for with what someone else is saying. Like we need to be at our journey where we're at right now, and in the beginning, it does take a little bit of work. Like I know now, I really do consider it more of a lifestyle. I go throughout my day and I find things that I'm grateful for, and it's even become a really great thing in relationship to other people. I tell my husband thank you all day long, where I'm like,
Yes.
thank you for doing this. Thank you. That was really kind of you. Where I'm seeing all of the wonderful things that are happening because I've wired my brain to look for them. And I've taken that pause and I think that it was really, you said something when we first started where you kind of alluded to we're always looking for something like bad or something negative. We're always even I said it, we're always looking for the other shoe to drop. That's not just something that has happened accidentally. We are wired that way, and we have a lifetime. Like I'm in my 30s. I have 30 some years of feeling of having these experiences, these negative learning experiences, uncomfortable learning experiences, moments, trauma, things that have been difficult, hardship, whatever. And that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So we are wired to try to avoid more of that in the future. And our brain is like, okay, well, I can only avoid it if I know that it's coming. So I'm going to search for it and I'm going to see if it's coming. And that means that I am going to be so hyper vigilant that I will be putting my feelers out all day long looking for anything similar to what I have been through in the past that I didn't like before. And so we really do have to make the conscious effort. And I
Yeah.
think that that comes down to being really intentional and deciding, well, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to be, do you want to, do you want to find more joy? Do you want to find more happiness? Do you want to be the person that is looking for that and isn't ashamed that you're really stoked that you have an awesome cup of coffee right now? You know? As you drink more coffee. Sponsored by coffee.
Sponsored by coffee and Oingo Boingo. No, but I agree. We have to, because we are so wired to look at the negative or focus on deficiencies that we think we have. We aren't always looking for the good. But there's one thing I want to go back to real quick, because I was talking about like cheddar cheese and Oingo Boingo and coffee, and I was talking about things that bring me joy. But you hit on something that's really important, is that we need to be grateful for the people in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that when we acknowledge that, we're acknowledging for ourselves that yes, I'm grateful to have that person in my life. But it really helps in that connection, as we're trying to, build connections and nurture those relationships that we have. It really helps when you have someone who, it feels good, right? When someone says, "Oh, thank you for that," or I appreciate you for that. And so I don't know what the kick is today, but now, so 2 songs just popped in my head. Well, because, we're thinking about, you talked about thanking your husband, and I think of The Wind Beneath My Wings, that song.
Yeah.
It has the whole thank you, there's that whole thank you thing at the end. And then thank you for being my friend. A lot of people think that's the Golden Girls theme song, which it is, but it's actually a full song that they use. Anyway, gosh, I'm getting all these sides. I got to focus. But I am focused. I'm focusing on things that are bringing me joy. And those 2 songs, add those to the list. But yeah. So I think, we talk about how do we have that mindset. For me, I like to wake up every morning, and kind of the first thing I think of is, wow, I'm thankful that I'm waking up. But to be I think of something. What am I thankful for? What am I looking forward today? And, that actually not only does it get you very quickly into this habit of acknowledging things that you're grateful for, but it actually really does a good job at kickstarting your day. You're not sitting in bed going, "Ugh, another day."
Yeah.
But you're like, "Oh, today I get to have lunch with a friend of mine. Oh, or today I get to wrap up that project I've been working on, or I get to get on a podcast today." Things like that. It really helps. So that's kind of my one thing is I start every day kind of with that idea of what am I grateful for.
Yeah. And what a beautiful way to start your day.
Yes.
Yeah, that helps you not to go down the spiral if you, let's say you spill your coffee and then you're running late to a meeting, and then the day can just so quickly get off the rails. We can have that intentional check-in.
Yep.
Find some gratitude, put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, think of something that you really are grateful for. And I just think that cultivating that feeling for us can be so transformational to just have that more in our life.
Yeah. So if I could, that's kind of a tip for how to start your day, a tip for how not to start your day. Do not wake up, grab your cell phone, and start scrolling on social media. I know a lot of people do that because you're immediately starting your day by looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, put that away. You'll see that later on.
Yeah.
Start your day focused on yourself and what you're grateful for.
Agreed.
And I know you said it this yourself with the Flourish planner, the daily planner. You actually have to intentionally write down what you're grateful for. And I think having that physical activity to actually write it down really helps reinforce the idea and helps you really feel that, embody that. So
yeah, embody that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Good.
All
Well, I
right.
love this discussion. This
Yes,
is a good one.
I'm very grateful for this discussion.
I'm grateful for this discussion too.
and
Yes. And
and
if you're
hopefully, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say for our viewers, our listeners, if you're watching or listening, let us know what you are grateful for. We would love for you to take some action and have a takeaway right now, to think of something. That's how you can put it into practice in your own life right now. Just what are you grateful for yourself?
And what songs remind you of gratefulness? The Grateful Dead. Wait, hold on. Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, great discussion. Thank you,
All
Michelle.
right. I'll talk
We'll
to you later.
see you